Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Oriane, and in today's video we're gonna talk about FAR. We're gonna talk about the Financial Accounting and Regulation exam of the Uniform CPA examination. In my previous video, I introduced a new series on the CPA exam, my experience, my tips, and everything that goes into it. So today's topic is gonna be FAR. I'm gonna talk about my experience, my study plan. I'm gonna talk about my strengths and my weaknesses, and just overall, tips and feelings about taking that beast of an exam. So FAR, you're ready to take FAR, you want to take FAR. What's up with FAR? Why is everybody so scared of it? Why does it seem like a lot of people tend to fail it? What's up with it? So FAR, again, stands for Financial Accounting and Regulation, I believe. Financial Accounting and Reporting. And it's extremely long. It's the section of the CPA exam that's just extremely long. So I thought I would include a little breakdown of the exam. So it's 4 hour long, 66 questions and 8 task-based simulations. The task-based simulations are pretty much problems that you have to solve from beginning to end. And then for the 4 hours, you have a 15-minute break in between. So when you're like halfway done. And then those are the areas that are FAR tests. And you can look it up on Google and get an idea of all of the content that you're expected to know for this exam. It covers, the most content. It has 10 chapters or 10 modules to cover in Becker. For me, the way I study it, I took 10 weeks of studying each module. So F1 to F10. I took 10 weeks, 1 week per module. I would do all of the lectures, all of the questions, and take the simulations, and then take a practice exam on that one chapter. So let's say, this week is the first week that I'm studying for it, and I'm studying for F1. And F1 has 8 chapters. F1 has 8 chapters. So that's the first module. The first module has 8 chapters. So what I would do is, in the morning, I would study for the lectures. I would listen to the lectures, really depending on each chapter. Sometimes they're like 30 minutes, sometimes they're 45 minutes. And in Becker, the instructor would go through each module, and you're following with the book. They would go through all of the explanation. They would teach you how to do the calculation. They would tell you things to write down, and things like that. So you would take notes and everything. So what I do first, I'll do all of the lectures. It takes me about 2 days. So Monday and Tuesday, I do all of the lectures. Starting on Wednesday, I'm done with the lectures. Now I get into practice questions. So each chapter, I would take individual skills practice, and then MCQs, multiple choice questions. Because again, the CPA exam, it's multiple choice questions. A, B, C, D, what's the answer, right? So this is a sample week for me. So Monday morning, I do my lectures. I do like 2 chapters out of the 8. In the commute to work, or at least back then, I would do flashcards. Then at lunch, I would start another lecture, which I probably would not finish. And then in the evening, I would finish the lecture that I started during lunch, and I would do another lecture. So first day, I'm done with 4 lectures. On Tuesday in the morning, I do 2 lectures. Same thing at lunch, I start 1 more lecture. And then in the evening, I finish the lecture that I started at lunch, and then do 1 more lecture. And then I'm done with 4 lectures. So Monday, Tuesday, done with the lectures. Wednesday morning, take the first chapter, M1. I do skill practice and MCQs, so multiple choice questions. So skill practice, it's very detailed. They just show you how to solve a problem. And then MCQs, it can be 20 questions, 30 questions, and you just have to, apply everything that you learn and answer all of the questions. So Wednesday morning, I do skill practice and multiple choice questions for M1 and M2. During lunch, I do it for M3, and then during the evening, I finish M3 if I wasn't done with M3, and I do M4. So that's kind of my process. So Wednesday and Thursday, it's all questions. I'm done with that. Then Friday, I would do like a review of everything. I would review my weaknesses, because in Becker, when you go through the questions, they record the type of question that you miss, and it would give you a report as to, for example, in M3 you tend to miss a lot of questions, or it take you that much time to answer them. So Friday morning, I'll go through my weaknesses, see where I need to work on more, maybe do a couple more questions just to understand why I'm not answering them as well as I want to. And then I do a progress test. So I do a progress test M1 to M8. So I will do like 50 questions, and I'll do that, and I'll review my weaknesses. So that's on Friday. Then Saturday, I'll do all of the simulations. So simulations are problems that you have to solve. So they would come up with like a whole scenario. They might give you a financial statement or something with a problem, and they will tell you to, solve whatever is going wrong. So on Saturday, I would do all of the simulations, write it down so that I know, when it's time to review and things like that, I know the type of things that I need to spend more time on. So that's Saturday, do all of my sims and look at my statistic for the week. And then I will write down my weaknesses. I will write down, things that I did wrong, and I would write down why I got that wrong. And I would have like my notebook. I had like a weakness. I had a weakness notebook, and it was just for my weaknesses. It was just for things that I don't understand. It was there. And I remember the day before the exam, I had like my weakness book, and I'm like, okay, what are all of the things that I missed? And everything was in there. Then on Sunday, I would do another progress test of all of the chapters, all of the questions, just to see where I am, review my weaknesses, and then I will make summary notes. So summary notes, I recommend to do it. There are like easy to digest summary of your notes. So for each chapter, I would just take like the most important thing that you need to remember, because again, the lectures are very long and they tell you a lot of information that you don't necessarily need to memorize. You just need to know. So as you go through the lectures, you tend to take a lot of notes that you don't necessarily need all of them. So at the end of the week on Sunday, I would go back to my notes and then summarize my notes, and just keep the very most important things that I'm like, the day before the exam, I need to read this. That's why I put in the summary of my summary notes. And then on Sunday, if I have some time, I would just start on the next week. So I would start on F2 for the following week, and that was kind of my plan. So Monday, Tuesday lectures, Wednesday, Thursday questions. Friday review of the week, write down my weaknesses. Saturday I would do a progress test of everything that I've learned so far from the first week. And then so that was pretty much my study plan every single week. And then I would do that until I get to F10. So when I'm done with F10, I'm like, okay, I've done everything. And then I usually give myself 2 weeks of review, 2 to 3 weeks of review before I take the exam. The first week of review, I would do an overall review of all chapters. I would do progress test F1, progress test F2, progress test F3 until F10. Then I would do like progress test of everything, and then I prepare myself for taking a mock exam. Once I review everything, I take one mock exam in Becker, and a mock exam, it's exactly like the exam. So it's 4 hours. You do all of the questions, you do the simulations, and I'll take that. I'll see where I am. I'll review my weaknesses. Then I take another mock exam again, a couple days after I review again. Then, I see where I am, my time. Am I good on time? Am I taking so much time on the MCQs that I don't have enough time for the simulations? I review all of that. Then, I study for a little bit. Then I take again a third, because Becker has 3 mock exams that you can take. Then I take the third mock exam, and then I'm ready to go. I review a little bit, then I go and take the exam. So that was my process for it. And that's kind of what I recommend. So review. Do not forget things that you've studied the first few weeks. You want to pay attention to IFRS type of questions. To me, those were the most confusing kind of questions according to IFRS, because there are differences between IFRS and US GAAP. And that was something that was a little difficult for me to kind of get my thoughts around. Governmental accounting and non-for-profit was another weakness of mine. It was difficult to understand because, you know, I have to be honest, except for studying for the CPA exam, I've never heard of governmental accounting anywhere. I've never heard of non-for-profit accounting anywhere. And it's not likely that you would, but those are the type of things that they want you to know. F1 wasn't too hard. F2, review ratios were hard for me. F3, depreciation methods to calculate the appropriation depreciation or depreciation expenses, and all of the journal entries related to that were hard for me. F4, the consolidation concepts were hard for me, especially elimination of intercompany transactions. My weakness. F5, bonuses were hard for me to understand, and the difference between accounting for bonds and accounting for notes payable. That's something else that was hard for me to understand, and it took me a lot of time to actually understand it. F6, lease accounting was difficult for me, especially the journal entries. Remembering at which point of the process for lease accounting you need to put what kind of journal entries, that was a little hard for me to do. F7, my weakness was calculating stockholders' equity, especially accounting for treasury stock, cost method versus par value method, stock subscriptions, stock rights, stock compensation, and stock appreciation rights. So stockholders' equity, even until now, it's something that it's a little complicated. F8, I had issues with the direct versus indirect method for calculating CFO, and also and CFO means cash flow from operations, by the way. And then the statement of cash flows. I like the income statement. I like the balance sheet. I like, things like that, basic financial statements. Statement of cash flows just didn't make a lot of sense to me. Cash in, cash out. How do you record, cash depending on where it comes from? I mean, even until now, that's still something I'm like, I need to check. So that was another weakness for me. F9 didn't have any weakness there, and F10 didn't have any weakness there. So if you guys want, I will put down in the description box a summary of my weaknesses per module for FAR, and maybe that's that can be helpful as you study for things. You'll be like, oh, okay, this is maybe something that I need to pay more attention to. So all right, so I'm gonna end the video on my FAR score. So for FAR, I got an 85, and in order to pass the CPA exam, the minimum score is 75, and it's not 75%. It is kind of on a scale to 100, but it's not really a percentage. The way they allocate points, it's just very confusing, and I think it's a whole mystery that they don't want us to know about. But you need to have a 75 to pass out of 100. So the highest score is 100, the minimum score is 75. So for FAR, I got 85, and yeah, using my method, study plan, passed it the first time. And I hope that this video kind of gives you an idea of how to study for it, how long to study for it. I was traveling full-time, I was working full-time, and I was also studying full-time. So again, I would study in the morning. I would study from like 5 to 7 a.m. Then I would study during lunchtime from 12 to 1. Then I would study at night from like 5:30 to 9 p.m. Every single day. On the weekends, I would study all day. I hope this is helpful. Let me know in the comment section. Let me know in the comment section if you have any questions for me. I would be happy to help. It's videos like this, it's watching videos like this that helped me through my process. Having support from my friends and family, having support from people that had already taken it. Please message me, send me an email. Let me know down in the comment section below if you have any questions. And yeah, in the next video, we'll be talking about regulation, all about taxes, all about the formulas, all about the numbers that you need to know and things like that. So yeah, I will see you in my next video. Until then, stay safe and take care. Bye bye.